It is solar panel install day. In our planning stages this morning, we determined that our original plan to go between vent fans, so that's the rear fan and this is the front fan, the original plan won't work. We don't have enough space to put 3 panels. And another thing that was holding us up was the fact that where we joined our 2 side rails here, we had this plate mounted on top. So 2 of the panels were sitting basically on this, which meant that there was a 1/4 inch height difference between the edge, one edge of 2 panels, and that wouldn't work. So troubleshooting morning, Jerry came up with the great idea to eliminate the 1/4 inch space, remove our bracket from the top and put it on the side. So we've just spent a little while drilling out the holes on the side of this rail to correspond with the holes in the bracket and just moving the brackets on both sides. Now we're determining the best way to mount the panels so we can get all 3 up here. I think we're going to put our smaller Unistrut, the thinner bits here, I think we're going to put these onto the side rail of the solar panel. We're going to pre-mount them on here. We've cut them to the exact length of the panel, so 65 inches. And then we will bolt the whole thing onto the rails, the side rails, with a series of longer bolts and washers and stuff and nuts. There's a lip. There is a lip here we can reach our hands into from the outside edge when we get to that point to like hold a nut down or something if we need to, when we need to secure everything onto these main side rails. So that's the morning. It's now 11:30. I think we started at 7:30. It took us 4 hours to cut a couple pieces of Unistrut and figure out the mess we have. So we have a solution. It's a great idea Jerry had to move those brackets to the side. It took a little bit of effort, but it was really easy to do. And it's the best solution for that problem. So I'm gonna grab a bite to eat because I'm pretty hungry, and then we will find solutions to our other problems. It's a problem-solving day. What the heck are we doing to our roof rack?
Tearing it apart.
Yep, modifying it.
Drilling holes in it.
Hasn't even been on the roof of the van for like a week yet. We're already modifying it. Well, we had to modify it to install our solar panels. We got one in. That's in there nice and tight. It's solid. Mounted directly to these side rails with the smaller Unistrut. I guess I'll call them crossbars or rack rails or however you want to call it. This took a little doing. This took a lot of doing. And then it took a lot of redoing and a lot of rethinking and more redoing and more rethinking. I think this is our 3rd day now trying to figure this out.
Wrong size bolts, wrong size this, wrong size that.
Yeah, we think...
nothing is lining up.
Well, no.
Unistrut has all these wonderful
all these little holes.
And everything. Did they line up?
Some of them do.
Very few.
Some of them do. What I have to do here, this is where we splice 2 pieces together. So I removed one of the bolts because, of course, the second panel is going to have the cross member right here where it needs to bolt into. So I have to drill.
We went from moving this panel
from the top to the side,
and now we have to drill out.
Yeah, now I have to drill out straight.
At the bottom.
Yeah. I was not in a very good mood today. I was about ready to throw in the towel, take this thing off completely, and spend the $3,000 on a pre-made one. and have somebody else do it. Because this is probably one of the most frustrating things that we've done yet to build out the van.
Well, that we've done.
Yet.
Period, I think. We've done a lot of construction and all kinds of things.
We have.
This is,
You're right. This is pretty frustrating.
Yeah, we haven't really done much to the van yet.
No, not really. You're right. This is a very frustrating day today. But we do have one solar panel in. It's 5:45. But we have a solar panel in. And I'm going to just drill the rest of these holes out tonight. While hopefully I will be in the shade soon. It's a little bit cooler. So I don't have to sit here in the morning to do it and start our day off, you know, hot and tired. So there's a solar panel on the roof, guys. Look at that. It's pretty exciting.
Hopefully there'll be a couple more.
Hopefully we can get a couple more in. And there's vent fans on the roof too. So we have just enough room in between. I think we have 2 inches to spare. Once it's all said and done, I think there'll be 2 inches to spare. Oh yeah, here's our mess of tools and things we've been needing to like do this project today. There'll be about 2 inches to spare between the two roof vent fans. So, you know, we've got the room for them. It's just getting them in there. So, keep you updated on the progress here. Once we get this finished, we'll show you how we're doing it.
Oh, you should not do it.
Well, actually, it's worked well. The system has worked well. When we get to this point, it's worked well. It's just lining everything up is now the issue.
Being an extended van, we had to scab a piece on. We wanted to brace it really well.
Right.
And so this area right here has caused us the most.
Yeah, because two panels. One's going to end here and one's going to end here. So we need to figure out how to bridge this gap with 2 panels. So we'll show you how we do it, because this went together real easy once we had it figured out. It was just the process of figuring it out and doing it. So we'll show you tomorrow how we drill holes and mount the side rails on and do all that. So, okay, I'm gonna finish drilling out. Sherry's gonna finish doing, what are you doing?
Getting you stuff.
Getting me stuff. Sherry's the gopher today. Sherry's my gopher today. You might actually make dinner. I don't know.
You finally hungry?
I'm not hungry, but I should eat something in a little while. I haven't eaten anything all day either, so that's probably why I'm not in a good mood. But the day is coming to a close. So, okay, we'll show you tomorrow how this all goes together. But right now I'm going to finish this and have a little attitude adjustment once this is done. So, thanks, guys. Working on finishing the solar panel installation today. And I'm going to show you how we've decided to mount our panels to the roof. So the first one went on just the side rails. The first one was able to mount directly to those side rails without any extra thought, because it was just on the side rails. These next two, there's going to be one side of each panel that attaches to where the junction is of the 2 side rail bars up there. So we needed a longer bolt and just a series of drilling like I showed you just a minute ago, drilling things out. So here's what we do. So we're going to preload this section here, because this is what is going to go attached to the side rail here of the roof rack. So washer on each side, and then the bolt goes through, and then we thread this guy on all the way up. So I'm going to do this to both ends of this one panel, because these are the longer bolts that have to go where the junction is. So I'm going to do this with the longer bolts to each side of this rail. Then I'm going to do the same thing to the other rail with the shorter regular size bolts. And then we'll bring them all up there and we'll dry fit them in where we feel is the best placement for them, and we'll hand tighten these down as best we can. And then we'll attach these to the panel up on the roof and put it all in place and hope they line up. So we're back out here in the shop. We've got a series of washers that are too large diameter to fit under the rim of the solar panel. We wanted to drill the hole pretty much center in the side of the solar panel, so that when we mount the rail, it's centered, it has the most option for the best strength. So we've got 8 washers. I'm grinding a flat spot on them so that when we put them in, they will fit in the channel they need to fit in without being offset for putting the bolt through. So let's see what happens here. This is just one of the many things that we run into that you're like, really? Now what do we do?
Okay.
We're an hour away from any, an hour away from any kind of real store. Well, 20 minutes from town, but an hour from any big box store. This is how we assemble the rails onto the panels. So we have to preload the bolts that are going to attach to the rail that's on the van. So preloading means getting those in there and just kind of hand tightening them up so that they can still be slid and adjusted for where they need to fit into the holes that are already on the rails. So this one's preloaded here. We line it up end to end, nice and flush. It has to be inset just a little bit, and then we figure out where we need to drill our holes to attach this rail to the solar panel. So we figure that out, we mark them, and then we use a 1/4" drill bit, just drill through the aluminum on the solar panel, and then we mount the bolts. So I'm going to do this one here first. So I put a big washer here, and then a bolt down through the hole that I drilled. And then underneath of it gets another big washer. It gets a lock washer, and then it gets a nut that will be Loctited on. So let me assemble this here. This is kind of a stand on your head thing. Once we get one on and this rail is somewhat secure here, we stand the panel up, and it makes it a lot easier to just kind of look down vertically into this little channel rather than having to go upside down on your head and manipulate stuff that way. So, okay, rails are installed. We've got all the mounting bolts here to hold the rail to the panel. 4 on each side. This way it supports the full panel. The middle is supported as well as the ends. Our plan was to just mount it on the ends and not do much in the middle. Our plans changed multiple times on how to install these things, and this is the final result. Sherry's dad came up with this option, which is brilliant because it does support the full length of the panel. So we've got 4 mounting brackets, or mounting bolts for this Unistrut. These again are the preloaded legs that have to go into the side rails that are already on the van, the actual roof rack. So these line up with holes there, we hope. If not, they're sloppy enough to be able to adjust a little bit this way. They can't go side to side this way, but they can go lengthwise that way. So we're ready to bring this up and put this in. Hi, horses.
What are you all vocal about today?
Well, we got the second solar panel in. We just need to put the bolts in down below here to secure it in place. We've got them lined up evenly on the edges. Gap in between them is even to pretty darn close. It's even to pretty darn close. So let me go ahead and bolt that in, and then we can work on the third and final one. This is what we got to do here. So this bolt is the bolt that holds everything to the side rail. We don't have a lot of room in here to start a nut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the washer and the lock washer on, and then I have trapped the nut in my ratcheting crescent wrench end here with some tape. So I can just put that up there and start it going. Let's see if that works. tool. Fine tool. We got the solar panels up. That was a test in patience, test in skill. Survival. It was 106 degrees today. Good point. Test in survival. It was 106 degrees today, full sun. The wind is like being in an air fryer. Let me show you the solar panels. There we have it. 3 solar panels, all nice and evenly lined up, evenly spaced. We have the same amount of space, surprisingly, it worked out this way, between the 2 panels, and then at the very end, before it hits the other fan, about 1.25 inches. Really excited that they came out so even, so nice. They're solid, they're not going anywhere. Rock solid installation. I'm going to, probably tomorrow with Jerry's help, we're going to get all the wires hooked up, because the wires aren't done yet. Get all those hooked up and zip tied up under here and tucked away. And drill a hole in the back for the hood, the housing, so the wires can come down into the van. I think that's tomorrow's project. Right now at 7 o'clock at night, we are pooped. We are sunburned, we are heat stroked. We are ready to just take a cold shower and just lay down someplace and try to cool off. So, solar panels done. It's a little bit windy today. Well, after we got all the solar panels up last night, we did a little thinking and researching and talking to Sherry's dad about the best way to hook up our 3 200-watt panels, and we're going to hook them up in parallel. So we're hooking all the positives together and all the negatives together, versus in series, which is a different setup, which I forget exactly. It's positive, negative, I don't remember it all. It's all very foreign to me and very confusing. This is my stress point here, is the whole solar system and learning how it works, how to connect it, how everything comes together. So we're hooking it up in parallel. I've got red tape to mark the positive lines, because everything coming out of the panels, and actually the cables coming back into the van, they're all black, so you don't know which is positive, which is not. So I've got my red tape for that, and I've got my Y connectors to connect everything. So I'm going to climb up there, and it's just plug and play, really. But, you know, it's plug and play and learning. So here I go. Here's the wires coming out of the control box that's mounted on the underside of all the panels here. So we have all 3 panels, all 3 sets of wires, 1, 2, and 3. These are indicated with a little sticker, which one is positive, which one is negative. I'm going to go ahead and wrap some red tape around all of the positive ends here, so that I know when these wear off down the line. I know without a doubt which ones are positive and which ones are not. I'm going to take the Y connector. We'll call this panel 1, 2, and 3. We're terminating at panel 3 to go into the van. So I'm going to take the Y connector and connect panels 1 and 2 together with the positives and the negatives. And then I'll take those connectors and connect panel 3 to those connectors. And then I'll connect panel 3 to its own connector, then connect those connectors to 1 and 2 connectors, and then there'll be a plug left to put the wires on that are going to go down into the roof through the housing. Let me get back to you. This way there will be no doubt in my mind down the road when it comes time to do any work on these panels, change them out, do anything, no doubt in my mind that this is the positive lead. Let me do that to the other two. All right, all three positive cables are marked. We're good to go. These are the Y connectors. One end of one set is for a female connection, so it's a male end here, and the other end, the other set has a female end. So what you do is you take your positive, which is a male connector, and you plug it into the end that will accept it. Nice and tight there. So that's panel number 2. That's panel number 1. Just like that. So both positives are connected here. I'm going to let that dangle. Now we're going to do both negatives. And we're going to connect negatives here. And I want to make sure, just because it's me, I connect this panel to this one here so that I'm matching what I've done here. So panel number 2 is connected to the end that has the additional connector on it. You probably don't have to do that, but that's what I like to do. So we're good there on the negative, those are solid. And we're good here on the positive, those are solid. I'm going to tuck these away underneath so that we can zip tie them up to the back side of the rail. And then I'm going to move the whole operation down to panel number 3 and connect it. Here's all 3 panels connected. So one Y connector here has the panel number 1 and panel number 2 coming in. And here's the output, which have connected to the Y connector that has panel number 3 coming in. So this is my positive output point right here. And I've done the same thing with the negative. Panel number 1 and number 2 come into the first Y connector. That Y connector is connected to a third Y connector that has panel number 3 coming into it. And now I have one negative point here. What we need to do from this point is make sure all these wires are tucked in and zip tied to the rail, behind the rail preferably. And then we need to connect a positive end and a negative end and run that down to the back of the van. And somewhere in that area there, we're going to drill a hole, drop the bare wires down into the van, and they'll run through a hood, kind of like a weatherhead on your house, electrical coming in. So it'll be mounted there, secured with some butyl tape and die-core and all that fun stuff. And then we'll do all of the connections from this point on the inside of the van. So that will bring our solar charging option into the van to go into this charge controller and then into the batteries, and that will give us our solar power. So I'm just going to finish doing this. I'm going to tidy everything up, make it all neat, zip tie it to the rail so it doesn't flop around in the breeze, and we'll be good to go. There's our completed octopus. So all the positives from the solar panels are coming in, 1, 2, and 3, connected to 2 Y connectors. And then this 4th positive lead here is the one that is going to the back of the van. Right there, it's marked with red tape. So that's our positive that's going to go down into the van. I've done the same thing with the negatives. We have panel 1, 2, 3 coming in. This is the negative lead going down to this wire here, again, getting dropped in the van. Now all I need to do is zip tie these to the rail because A, we're going to be driving somewhere tomorrow and I don't want them flopping around. So we're just going to kind of zip tie them where I think they need to be. And B, we're not going to need to get to this again for the solar setup. This is complete, I think. So we'll confirm with Jerry. I'm almost positive we are complete here. I'll do a little research before I tie them up. But we're gonna get these zip tied nice and neat so they're not sitting on the roof, so they're out of the way, they're not flopping around as we drive. Get everything nice and tucked in. And then we can work on the back end. With all the wires now zip tied to the roof rack, we need to mount the housing. This is the housing right here, where our positive and negative wires are going to go in. And we need to find a flat spot on the roof to mount that to. And I'd like to mount it with these facing to the rear. So when we're driving, if you do this way, wind, water, everything's going to get blown into where the wires connect. It would make sense to do that, just a straight shot for the wires, but it's better to do it a little more aerodynamically, I guess, this way. So I'm going to drill a hole large enough for 2 of these cables to go through. I'm going to drill a hole in the roof here, mark where I want this, so I drill the hole pretty much in the center of wherever that is, or a little bit to the front edge of it here. And then the wires will get fished along the side of here, zip tied, and they'll come around, they'll make a loop, and then go back into here. So I need to get this kind of as far to the front as I can, which I'm thinking is going to be about there. I'll trace around it so I know where to drill and drill it out. Can you feel that now? It might be hot. We're seeing if Sherry can feel where the hole is. I'm pretty sure we're in a good spot, but I want to make sure before I get any bigger. Can you feel it? Okay. All right. Sherry says we're good. Okay, I think I'm gonna call that good. Can you pass me the vacuum? Got enough extension cord? You can hand it to me and then you can put the cord. Got it. Yep. Alright, I think that's big enough for me to get 2 wires through. I will test it in a minute. I might want to go a little bit bigger. Especially, it is pretty small, especially because we're going to put a rubber grommet in there. I might just go ahead and just ream that out, make that bigger right off the bat and not worry about it. You know. The wires are pretty small, but there's going to be a rubber grommet in there, taking up a little space too. I might just go ahead and ream that out a little more. I mean, it's, you know, the size of my thumb. So, you know, that might fit. Suppose I could cut the ends off of those wires and see if they'll fit through. I don't know. But anyway, that's the hole. This is going to get some butyl tape all around the edges of it and set down there like that over the hole. Wires will come across here and into those openings, down the hole into the van. Let me show you where it's going to go inside. We drilled our hole in this channel right here. You can kind of see some light right up there, so that would be our hole. So the wires are going to come down through that into this channel here and come all the way down inside that channel, come out somewhere at the bottom and into our charge controller, which will be here where our batteries are going to live. So I'll go widen that hole just a little bit more. I'd feel more comfortable having it a little larger Plus, if we decide to fish more wires through there at some point in the future for anything, Jerry was talking this morning. He says, yeah, exterior lighting, anything you do out there that you might need to get some power up on the roof for things. I'll just extend that a little bit, make it easier on ourselves right now. And then I think we're gonna wait, because we don't have that rubber grommet yet to protect the wires from the edges. So I think we're gonna wait to actually fish the wires through till tomorrow. We have to run to town anyway in the morning. We'll go ahead and get that rubber grommet tomorrow, put them through and then fish them down. So that's right now kind of it for solar. Next project is gonna have to be to install the flooring so that we can start building our battery box and getting our control panel up here for all our solar things, and then, you know, get the bed put in, get the bench with we got to put the flooring in next, no matter what. So getting the panels on the roof and the solar, the wiring run and everything ready for that was the first step. Next is flooring, and then everything else. Here we are, all tucked away. Wires are zip tied to the back side of that rail. You can't see them. They're off the roof. They're not gonna sit on the roof at all. Just zip tied all in there, nice and neat. Out of the way, out of sight. I've got the hole cut in the back there all ready to put the wires down into the van. Sherry is going to paint around the edge. We filed and cleaned up. Now we got to put a coat of like rust inhibiting paint in there. And then we'll put a rubber grommet in there, and then we'll poke the wires through, and then we'll go inside and finish up in there. Real technical job here, painting the inside of that.
Exactly.
Alright, we just sprayed some spray paint in a cup. Soaking a little foam brush. Get some paint around there to kind of cover those edges.
That side look okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Doesn't matter if I get it on there because it's going to be covered.
It's going to be covered, yeah. Get on there good. Yeah, the bare metal's covered up. Should be alright.
Alright.
We cut another hole in our van.
You betcha.
Jeez. We have put the wires through the housing. First we cut the ends off. So here's both ends. So we just cut the ends off. Now we have connectors for something if we ever need to do any more solar. They're little extra connector pieces. Then we fed them through the housing here. After I put a rubber grommet over that sharp-edged hole right there. We found one in town here. So there's a rubber grommet there to protect the wires. Wires go in through that hole. The housing will be mounted this way, and I will zip tie the wires off to the rails here some way so there's not a lot of tension on them. And now inside we have, coming out of the ceiling, whoops, coming out of the hole in the wall here, is where the wires are going to come out of for now. We're just going to leave these here. We'll coil them up and zip tie them to an edge or something for now. Ultimately, they will get fed down through this channel here and into our solar controller and everything that's down in there. But for now, that's where they'll live. It's 110 out.
Yeah, I think.
It's hot.
Sweating.
So I'm going to put the butyl tape down to secure that housing on the roof and let it set overnight before I put some lap sealant on there, some Dicor on there. But I think we're done out here for now. It's too hot to do anything else maybe. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We wanted to sand the floor, get the edges done.
But we're going to be a moving van tomorrow.
We are going to be moving van tomorrow. Our friends just moved into a house in town that was built, and now they're ready to start moving their furniture in, and they have some big items they need to move. And we said, well, we've got a 14-foot long cargo van you can use, so
let's do it.
We'll be a moving van tomorrow.
Before our new flooring goes on.
Yeah.
That's a good chance.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll finish up on the roof here, get that done, and call it a day. Take a nice cool shower, and maybe relax a little bit. So.
Yeah, let's go enjoy the air conditioning.
Enjoy the air conditioning, definitely.